Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome to our next episode of Ayyuh al-Walad. We are on the 17th Council, and the 17th Council is going to be split into two as well. Quite a long council, but as we're now drawing near the end, we enter into the last week of these councils. Inshallah, next week starts tomorrow. We will shift our time back to 7:40, if I'm not mistaken, till 8 p.m. For the remaining, 7 days that we have of Ramadan, inshallah. So we are, as we calculated the other day, let me find my piece of paper. There it is. As we calculated the other day, we've got 1, 2, 3 sessions: Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 17A, 17B, and then we're going to do 2 councils at the same time on Tuesday. Then Wednesday is our fiqh hour, and then Thursday is going to be our 20th. And then Friday and Saturday will be our 21st council, which will be split into 2. So far, so good. It's like we planned it perfectly. Subhanallah. Khair. Without further ado, let's make a start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ayyuh al-Walad. I don't need to translate that by now, surely. قد علمت من هاتين الحكايتين أنك لا تحتاج إلى تكثير العلم. You would have known now from these 2 stories that we have narrated to you. One is the story of Imam Shibli, which you'll have to go back to one of the earlier councils to receive that. And the other one was the Hatim al-Asam, if you remember that one. That was yesterday and the day before, where he was speaking to Imam Shaqiq about spending 30 years in his company and how he had 8 benefits which he shared with him. So he goes, you'll know from these 2 narrations, the fact that one had one single hadith, Imam Shibli was using one single hadith, and obviously Imam Hatim had gained 8 pieces of lessons, or 8 knowledge nuggets, 8 pearls of wisdom, that annaka la tahtaju ila takthir al-ilm, that you have no need to seek a great amount of ilm, that there's no great need to be studying for years and years and years and years and years, okay, because you could gain, from the 30 years of spending time. We found that he had 8 lessons in the whole, in that he'd learned from him in 30 years. Imam Shibli said one hadith was sufficient for me to keep me on the straight and narrow. وَالْآنْ أُبَيِّنُ لَكَ مَا يَجِبُ عَلَى سَالِكِ سَبِيلِ الْحَقِّ. Now I will explain to you what is necessary for the wayfarer who wishes to walk on the path of truth. Meaning this person who wants to, as it goes, gnosis or enlightenment, or truly understand the nature of ubudiyya, truly understand the nature of a human, truly understand the nature of humanity, and really appreciate the truth with a capital T. I'lam, know this, أنه ينبغي للسالك شيخ مرشد مرب ليخرج الأخلاق السيئة منه بتربيته ويجعل مكانها خلقا حسنا. Know this, that it is a requirement for the salik. Okay, the salik is the wayfarer who's walking the path of gnosis, walking the path of enlightenment, walking the path of realizing his true station in the world, that he needs a nurturing, a nurturing, rightly guided teacher. Why? What's the purpose of this nurturing, rightly guided teacher? Well, first of all, we find by the fact that he's been described as a nurturer, that he is going to nurture this individual. Rightly guided, of course, it's very important that the person who is guiding us is himself rightly guided. It would be somewhat problematic if our guide was deviant. Shaykhun, this is not necessarily that he's an old man. He might be that he's an old man, but more because he has spent some time in this path, that he is a teacher of these sciences. What's his goal? What's his purpose? What is he going to do? لِيُخْرِجَ الْأَخْلَاقَ سَيِّئَةَ مِنْهُ, in order that he بِتَرْبِيَتِهِ, in order that he may take out bad characteristic, bad behavior, bad traits, bad qualities from him. Through what route? بِتَرْبِيَتِهِ, through nurturing him, giving him instructions, guiding him. وَيَجْعَلَ مَكَانَهَا, and to replace these bad traits and bad qualities and bad behavior with what? خُلُقًا حَسَنًا, with good characteristics, good behavior, good traits. ومعنى تربية يشبه فعل الفلاح الذي يقلع الشوك ويخرج النباتات الأجنبية من بين الزرع ليحسن نباته ويكمل ريئه. He gives a metaphor, and he says this is like when I mention tarbiyah, what I mean by this is, if you think of a farmer who the first thing he does is, when he prepares his land, is yaqla or shok. He takes out the kind of thorny bushes, okay, cactus, things of that nature. وَيُخْرِجُ النَّبَاتَاتِ وَيُخْرِجُ النَّبَاتَاتِ الْأَجْنَبِيَّةِ, and he takes out any weeds from the garden, something which shouldn't be there, growth which is unwanted. مِنْ بَيْنِ الزَّرْعِ, from in between the crops. Why? لِيَحْسُنَ نَبَاتُهُ, so that they can grow properly and reach to their best end goal. Okay, that's his maqsad. So like the way the farmer is tending to his crops and making sure that the crops aren't being affected by these bad things, which are thorn bushes or weeds, then similarly the sheikh's job is to look at his murid and remove qualities which are negative, to remove them and replace them with positive qualities. So unless we take this link with a sheikh, a link with a ustad, then unfortunately, and if we're not guided by them, then unfortunately we are leading ourselves. And if we are leading ourselves, then it's like the self-prescription spiritual medication. And self-prescribed spiritual medication is a problem, since the nafs is the one that's prescribing it, and the nafs is the one we're trying to cure. Okay, so he's not necessarily going to say, oh, you need to take this, you need to do that, because that's going to affect him. Okay, so you can see the anomaly here. ولا بد للسالك من شيخ يؤدبه ويرشده إلى سبيل الله تعالى. And it is a necessity to have this teacher who يؤدبه, who will teach him adab, yani qualities, mannerisms, etiquettes, ويرشده, and also to guide him إلى سبيل الله تعالى, to the path of Allah the Almighty. لأن الله أرسل للعباد رسولا للإرشاد إلى سبيله, because this is the way of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always sent to humans messengers to guide them to his path. This has always been his way. And in the absence of the Anbiya, it is the ulama's responsibility to be those guides. فإذا ارتحل صلى الله عليه وسلم فقد حلف الخلفاء في مكانه حتى يرشدوا إلى الله تعالى. And when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, when he left this world, then he was deputized by the khulafa, the rightly guided khulafa, fi makanihi, in his place, hatta yurshiduhu ila Allah ta'ala, until they guided him, or until they guided the people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. والشرط الشيخ الذي يصلح أن يكون نائبا لرسول الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. And a condition, a criterion for the teacher is that it is sound that he be a substitute, a representative for the Messenger of Allah, meaning his behavior and his character should be reflective. Of course, he cannot reach the status of the Prophet ﷺ. However, I don't know why that was a however, that should have been however. What he does do is he emulates the Prophet ﷺ to the best of his abilities. أن يكون عالما, that he be a scholar, he be a learned person, okay, he be knowledgeable. ولكن ما كل عالم يصلح للخلافة. However, it should not be taken as an expectation, because not every scholar is good as a deputy, meaning not every person who has learned something can now impact on others, can now improve the behavior of others. وإني أبين لك بعض علاماته على سبيل الإجمال حتى لا يدعي كل أحد أنه مرشد. I will clarify for you, I will explain for you some of his alamat, characteristics, some of the signs that you can look out for. Ala sabil al-ijmal, but this will be done in a concise manner. Hatta la yadda'i kullu ahadin annu murshid, so that not every single person lays a claim that he is a one who can guide others. Fanaqul, so we say, so this is the criterion he's going to describe. He says, so we say, may yu'ridu, I'm just going to see where I'm going to stop for today. Okay, that's where I'm going to stop for today. فنقول, so we say, may yu'ridu an hubbi dunya wa hubbi al-haba, that it is someone who turns away from the worldly, the love of the world, and he turns away from the love of fame. Meaning that he is not one who seeks status, he is not one who seeks the dunya, he's not one who seeks a recognition, he's one who just quietly gets on with his work. A point to make here, that does not necessarily mean that he may not become known. Some scholars and individuals are busy carrying on with their work, but the information about them gets out into the public domain. And when it gets out into the public domain, people become aware of them. But this is a person who goes out of his way. So he's not one. He turns away from this. He is averse from these things. وَكَانَ قَدْ تَابَأَ لِشَخْصٍ بَصِيرٍ تَتَسَلْسَلُ مُتَابَعَتُهُ إِلَى سَيِّدِ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And he has been a follower of a sheikh, of a teacher, basirin, but not just any teacher, somebody who has basir, insight, that the salsalo perpetually, mutaba'atun, consecutively in a chain to the master of the messengers, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Wa kana muhsinan, and also that he is riyadata nafsihi bi qillatil akli, and also he is sound in disciplining his nafs, his ego, by qillatil akl, by reducing the amount of food he eats, wal qawl, reducing the amount of speech, reducing the amount of talk, wal nawm, reducing the amount of sleep, and وَكَثْرَةِ الصَّلَوَاتِ وَالصَّدَقَةِ وَالصَّوْمِ, and he increases his salawat, his prayer, and he increases his charity, and he increases his fasting. So this is, in a concise manner, a sign to look out for in a rightly guided person. That he has a chain that he has through his teachers. He can link all the way up to the Prophet ﷺ. Secondly, that he is somebody who is averse from the dunya and averse from fame, even though it may consequentially happen for him. And also that he works on himself first before he works on anybody else. So he reduces the amount of food he consumes, he reduces the sleep, he reduces the talking, and he increases his prayer, he increases his fasting, and he increases his charitable philanthropical work. وكان بمتابعته ذلك الشيخ البصير جائلا محاسن الأخلاق له سيرة كالصبر والصلاة والشكر والتوكل واليقين والقناعة والطمأنينة النفس والحلم والتواضع والعلم والصدق والحياء والوفاء والوقار والسكون والثاني وأمثالها. Okay, so long list of things here now. And also, وَكَانَ بِمُتَابَعَتِهِ ذَلِكَ الشَّيْخ, and also by following this particular basir, yani one who has insight, teacher, جائلا, he has made mahasin al-akhlaq, the best of traits for him. Such as, what sort of traits would he have as a telltale sign? Sabr, patience. Was-salah, prayer. Was-shukr, gratitude. Wat-tawakkul, reliance on Allah. Wal-yaqeen, having certitude. Wal-qana'a, contentment. Wa-tu'mananina nafs, and to control the nafs, to be, to have the nafs in a good state. Wal-hilm, being mild-mannered, والتواضع, being humble or having humility, والعلم, having knowledge, والصدق, being truthful, sincere, والحياء, having modesty, والوفاء, being a يعني وفاء, struggling to find the word now. والوفاء يعني reliable. I'll just use that for now. والوقار, having dignity, والسكون, and not talking excessively, adopting silence, والتأني, and also being careful and considerate in his actions, وأمثالها, and things of this nature. فهو إذا نور من أنوار النبي. So in that sense, he is a light from the lights of the Prophet ﷺ. يصلح لإقتداء به, and he is sound to be followed as a result of these things. ولكن, however, once he's made this description, he says, وجود مثله نادر. Finding somebody of his nature is rare. أعز من الكبريات الأحمر. It is harder than finding red sulfur. ومن ساعدته السعادة, and if somebody is very lucky, فوجد شيخا كما ذكرنا, and he finds a teacher like we have mentioned, وقبله الشيخ, and the teacher takes him as his student, ينبغي أن يحترمه ظاهرا وباطنا, then he should respect him. احترام, you should respect and venerate him both outwardly and inwardly. So how is he going to honor him and venerate him outwardly and inwardly? أما احترام الظاهر, as for outwardly showing him respect, فهو أن لا يجادله ولا يشتغل بالاحتجاج معه في كل مسألة. He should not argue with him or debate with him over any particular thing. وإن علم خطأه, even if he knows that his teacher has made an error. ولا يلقي بين يديه سجادته, and he should not place his prayer mat in front of him, إلا وقت أداء الصلاة, except obviously if it is the salah time. فإذا فرغ يرفعها, and when he finishes praying, he should lift his prayer mat. ولا يكثر نوافل الصلاة بحضرته, he should not perform excessive numbers of nafal, supererogatory, optional prayer in his presence. ويعمل ما يأمره شيخ من الأمل بقدر وسعه وطاقته, and he should do whatever his teacher asks him to do to the equivalent he has capacity and also he is able. وأما الاحترام الباطن, as for respecting him باطن يعني internally, فهو أن كل ما يسمع ويقبل منه في ظاهره لا ينكره في الباطن. Now everything he hears and he accepts from him externally, then he should not reject it internally. لا فعلا, neither by statement, neither by action, ولا قولا, neither by statement, لئلا يتسم بالنفاق, because this is similar to nifaq, hypocrisy, where his inwardly is rejecting his outwardly, because that is by definition nifaq. وإن لم يستطع يترك صحبته إلى أن يوافق باطنه ظاهره, and if he is unable, to leave, if he's unable to do this, وإن لم يستطع, يعني if he cannot do this, if he cannot bring a synchronization between his inner and his outer, يترك صحبته, he should leave the company of his teacher إلى أن يوافق باطنه ظاهره, until his internal correlates and is in consistency with his outwardly. ويحترز عن مجالسة صاحب السوء, and he should be very careful about sitting in the presence and socializing with evil people. ليكسر ولاية شياطين الجن والإنس عن سمح قلبه, otherwise he may give power or to the shayateen, both of the jinn and the ins, over the sahani qalbi, yani the keys of his heart, the key part of his heart, the essence of his heart. فَيُسْتَفَّى مِنْ لَوْثِ الشَّيْطَانِيَّةِ, and then what would happen is, so he can clear, so if he can do that, if he can avoid sitting in the company of evil people, so that he may cleanse, remove the loath shaytaniyah, the stain of shaytaniyah, of devilship. وَعَلَى كُلِّ حَالٍ يَخْتَارُ الْفَقْرَ عَلَى الْغِنَى, and in all situations he should choose poverty over wealth. So that, I'm not going to summarize because that in itself is quite a lot to take in, and we've gone past our allotted time. That is our first part of the 17th counsel that Imam Ghazali is leaving to his student. We now will, inshallah, tomorrow complete the 17th counsel, and we will do part B tomorrow. Also, obviously, we will have our new time of 7:40 GMT, inshallah, and as we enter the last week of Ramadan. So don't take the foot off the gas now. Don't take the foot off the pedal. Now is the time to push that last little bit. You're on the home straight. And when a person is on the home straight, imagine you're doing 800 meters and you've run 600 meters, you've run 700 meters, and you're now coming onto the straight. The last thing you need to do now is take your foot off the gas. You need to make sure you finish strong. So it's extra effort these last 7 days. Inshallah, most likely Eid will be Monday. That's just a prediction from me. So that we should have 7 days of Ramadan, but the days are slipping through our fingers. Make the most of it, whether we're here next Ramadan or not. Only Allah knows best. So keep the 7 days strong. Have a habit, have a timetable, and adhere to it. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.